Hey guys, Gary J here, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite all-time Coleman stoves right here. It's just a single burner, and below that is a two-burner Coleman stove, and then I've got another one over here, two-burner, and we'll look at those. I was taking these out of the shed and cleaning them up and getting them ready for camping and stuff. It's November, middle of November now, and so this stove is, again, one of my favorite all-time stoves. I've taken this stove, I live in middle Georgia, and I've taken this stove all out west in Colorado, Wyoming, the Rocky Mountains, the Grand Canyon, Arizona, South Dakota, all kinds of places. And I love this stove, and great for cooking coffee on, or eggs and bacon and stuff like that, and just a great stove. Now on these stoves right here, underneath this stove on the bottom, and I don't want to turn it sideways because I got fuel in it. On the bottom right here, it'll give you the date. After like 1951 or something like that, they started putting the dates that the stoves were made, whether it's these big green stoves or the small ones, and the lanterns too. After like 1951, I believe, they started putting the dates on the bottom of them. And even on this carrying case right here, the date right here it's got a number 1 here and then 87. So that means this was made in January of 1987. And I looked underneath here, and it also has 187. So this was made in January of 1987. I bought it maybe in 93 or 4, somewhere around there. And it still looks like brand new. And that's one of the great advantages of having one of these cases right here. Keep it clean, and it's very simple to work. Right here you've got a red lever. That lever is in the off position here. Hope that's clear enough. Right here you have off and on. So it's in the off position. You turn it all the way this way for on. That gives fuel to this rod right here. And you turn it around. And on this side right here, we have a lever. And this lever right here has got clean, low, and light. Okay. So we could put it on low, or if we don't light it, we put it on light, high. And so you control the flame with this right here, but you got to have it turned on. And of course, the next thing you have to do, this is a tank right here, reservoir, will probably last with a single burner like this. I'm just guessing, but what I've seen with other ones, the reservoir right here is pretty good size, and this tank can last several hours with this particular reservoir. So you have long cooking time with this right here. Of course, you want to have spare fuel with you too. So, since this is a closed system right here, and the way that you operate these right here is that you have this plunger right here. Now, the plunger right here, it's got an arrow. You turn it all the way clockwise to the right, and as you turn it to the right here, it'll lock. You turn it about a full turn to the left, it unlocks. It's got a hole right here. So you put your thumb over this hole and hold it like this right here, and you start pumping it. And probably about 25, 30 pumps on this, and it'll get harder to pump, okay? When it starts getting harder to pump, hold your finger over this, your thumb over this hole, and turn it until it locks, okay? So once that locks, it cuts off a valve in here. So if you pumped in a lot of air, the way the system works inside here, so it's under pressure, that's where your gas is going to be coming from. Okay, so that's under pressure. Now, only 2 things that you have to problem solve with most anything that's made by Coleman, whether it's the stoves here, or lantern, or this kind of stove. It has to have compressed air in here. pumping this right here and turning it back to the right cuts that valve off so no air escapes out of here. The only other place for air to escape is right here. This cap has a rubber seal on the inside of it, and that rubber seal will eventually break loose, and when it does, it'll rot. Now this one right here looks pretty good right here. That green rubber seal looks a little worn, but that's normal. So this will go bad, so you need to buy a new cap. Now in a pinch, this is generally like three quarters of an inch wide. In a pinch, you can go by the hardware store and you can buy these rubber washers that have a hole in the middle, and they're generally like 3/4 of an inch, and they'll stick in here. And to get you by until you can get a cap, you can put one of those rubber washers in here and screw that on there, and it'll be airtight. It won't leak out. But if this is leaking, that rubber washer is leaking, when you pump it up, it's going to be coming out of here ever so slowly, that it's not going to keep the pressure, and so your flame is going to continue to die out. So have some kind of backup or extra cap right here. When you get through using one of these, make sure you pour out all the fuel. Get all the fuel out you can. Let it sit hanging upside down somewhat to get this fuel out, and that way you won't have a problem with it rusting. Okay, so make sure your cap is turned tight on here, and your lever over here is closed, and this one right here is closed, and then we'll pump it up. And usually about 25 or 30 times. I think on this one you'll feel the resistance. If you over pump these stoves, sometimes I've seen fuel come out here, and to me that's just you've over pumped it. It's got too much pressure. I think I've read that on some of these. So if you got fuel coming out here, you've overdone it. Now I use like these strikers right here, and this one just about going. Turn your red valve on, okay, and turn your lever here to light. I can hear the gas coming out. Now you see the yellow flames right there? That is normal when you turn. Yellow flames here are normal when you turn on a lantern or a stove, Coleman stove or lantern. It's going to be yellow. The reason it's yellow is because it's under pressure here and it's shooting raw gas, liquid raw gas, and that's what's burning yellow right there. Okay, and that will go away, and the reason that goes away is because this rod right here goes all the way across the flames right here. This is your tank, and fuel is coming up through this line right here, and it goes across the flames to the other side. Now what's happening is that the raw fuel that's in this line right here, once this pipe gets hot enough from the flames, and it will get hot enough, that raw fuel will be vaporized and turned into a gas. It vaporizes into a gas. So when that happens, then you'll see that the stove will be burning correctly, and then you can control the flames and so forth on it. But once that gets hot enough, the flame will go back to normal like it should be. It was kind of cold this morning. It was in a high, well, 38 degrees or something like that, 37. So if it's colder weather, it'll take a little bit longer for that to heat up. But usually within like a minute or so, it'll be working fine. Now, if your flames and stuff like that start to go down, you can always pump it up. Even with it lit, you can pump it up. I can tell just pumping that up that the pressure increased on it, making more of a sound than it was before. Not quite there yet, but it will be. Okay, you don't see the yellow flames now, just occasionally, but hard to see right here, but you can see it's on, it's burning. That green color right there, that's your propane. And it puts out a good bit of heat too. And then you can control the flame here. You don't want to scorch stuff up being too hot. You may have it wide open to get your coffee going or something like that. But yeah, that's the key right there. You got to get this pipe really hot first before it turns the liquid gas into a vapor gas, and that's what gets rid of the yellow flames, and that's the real secret to it. Real good right now, and if I'm going to turn this off right here, then I pull this lever all the way back and leave it there. Now, you'll still have a purge here just a little bit, and then we turn this valve right here all the way back in that position right there, and that cuts off the fuel right here, so you don't have any fuel running up here. Okay, so that's how easy it is to work one of these right here. And you got these fins right here where you put your pan on. Okay, but just a great stove there. Can't say enough about this little stove. And I mean, it can help you warm up your tent or something like that too, but you got to be careful of carbon monoxide and stuff like that. On anything like this, you got to have real good ventilation. Well, I hope they give you some idea about these guys. Take care. Gary J.